quantum sciences together to have clear perception. Well, so
Right.
many researchers are just looking into the classical science, into the Newtonian physics, which we were all taught in school.
Mm-hmm.
So I just encourage anybody researching this to open up their minds and look at what's really going on around them, and
Mm-hmm.
they won't be kept in the parameters of their upbringing. You just got to
Right.
open up a little bit and
Right.
see what's
Right.
going on.
So, what made you lump Bigfoot into the whole quantum physics field?
Well, Al Berry, the investigative reporter that we took in there in 1972, he was a master's degree in science, and he said, "Whatever you do, don't talk about the crazy stuff that's going on up here,
Mm.
because people just throw you out with baby water. Then, because they put you in the woo-woo factor or something,
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a long
Yeah.
time we didn't. We just shared the mysteries with our close family and close friends.
Right.
But something had to answer those questions, and there has to be a law behind anything, I think. And
Mm.
quantum physics is the rule or the law behind a lot of things that goes on that we just don't understand. So what I've done, I got into quantum physics, the science of it, so it will answer a lot of the paranormal issues. It doesn't. They're not synonymous. Uh, Quantum
Mm-hmm.
physics answers the problems that people have in the woo-woo camp. You know,
Right.
where
Right.
they just uh, well,
Mm-hmm.
pseudoscience is it's pseudoscience. It's not
It
real.
is.
It's not based
Yeah.
on facts. It's based on whims and whimsical assumptions.
Right. Is it, yeah. Sorry, Amelia. Did you have a question?
No, no,
Oh,
I
okay.
got the fan with the
Oh, the
sorry.
fan
I got
thing
a
again.
fan in front of me and my hair keeps sticking to my
Oh.
face. No,
um,
no.
when we get all these um, sightings and people see things such as these balls of light, or light that just seems to move along the ground very close, or people will see UFOs in areas or vicinities that are known to have Bigfoot sightings.
Mhm.
um, how do we I mean, how does the research look at that? Because you can say it's paranormal, you could say it's extraterrestrial, you like you could say again, it's dimensional, interdimensional,
Yeah, it's all those. It's energy is what it
all
is,
of it again. Yeah,
and energy is just different forms. Uh,
right,
you you don't ever energy never dies. It just changes
right,
form. And
right.
inside of us, our consciousness is what I'm talking about. Our soul, our energy.
Mm,
That's going to change form someday. It's not going to stay in this
right.
body.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a scientist or a physicist, you're going to say that you just change
Mm,
forms. Einstein
mm-hmm.
said that. And if you're just a flesh and blood person, well, nothing else going to happen.
Right, that's it.
Or if you're religious, you're going to go to heaven. You think, but where's that?
Right, right.
And is Bigfoot there?
Yeah, really. Yeah. I want to go where Bigfoot is.
I'm the comic relief, just saying.
No.
Well, I think probably a lot of Bigfoots are interdimensional. Some of them may be just living underground too, in cave networks. There's a lot of cave systems in
There-
this
That
northern.
makes total sense,
part.
right? There has to be, because they're there and then they're not there,
Yeah.
right?
Well, there's
With
also, if
sightings.
they're interdimensional, they can change. Okay, I'm going to get deeper now. Here, you ready for
Okay,
this?
go for it.
Back at Florida, he says that Dr. Paul Dirac, he won the Nobel Prize in 1933 for antimatter, and that's where energy and matter are interchangeable, and matter and energy are interchangeable. Got it? That's
Mm,
so. If these things have learned how to find the frequency to change their matter, and credible people tell me they saw that. I've never witnessed that,
see them in
but
trees.
that doesn't mean it hadn't
How
happened. And if these things are actually, because they're really disturbed when there's clear cutting going on, or people cutting trees down, that seems to really be an issue with them. I
Right.
was up in Alaska last year with the Discovery Channel filming the
Saw it. That's
port
how I
rock.
found you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kyle was
Well,
on
I
the
mentioned
show.
that
Yeah.
there. Of course, there was more to it then because I didn't get to the bottom of
Oh,
it. If you just start right off, say, well, they live in trees, somebody's going to call you a nut.
right,
You got to have
right,
something that makes it credible. And
right.
energy and matter are interchangeable.
Right.
And when you get that way, these things can change their matter into energy. They can go into a tree, they can go into the ground, they can go wherever they want to into the fifth dimension and
Right.
not age anymore.
Right.
Not age like we do anyway.
Right.
That's why people who have these sightings are always dumbfounded, because it's there and then it's not. So they're questioning, am I really seeing this or is it my imagination?
Right. Well, there was
Wow.
six. Yeah, there was six of us up there. Five actually. One guy wouldn't go back. So
Right.
we were all witnessing this stuff. The strange stuff. I did see a UFO up there. I did personally,
Right.
and it was all going on when the Bigfoot stuff was close to us up there. And
Right.
but there's
Yeah.
just a lot going on. Sometimes we thought our camp was being tore apart when we looked out. As far as we haul these barrels in on our mules, and we
Yeah.
kept our food up there and our sleeping bags up there. That way, when we couldn't take the animals, we just walk in
Right.
and have our stuff there. I mean, that's pretty nice. Then you can stay several days, not have to worry about hauling my stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
It's 8 miles into the wilderness where we go from the closest place you could park.
Oh,
Right.
8,400 feet in elevation, so it's not an easy place to get to at all. There's
No.
nobody else around. There's no big lakes, nothing that people are going to go to there. It's just springs. That's where the water starts,
Right.
and it's just a really imposing trail. It's really, I mean, that's what Al Berry went in there for, is to try to prove a hoax out of it. That's what he was
Oh,
set to do,
interesting.
which we didn't know at the time.
Right.
What did happen was Warren Johnson, he was the leader of our group. He wrote a 23-page letter to Ivan Sanderson, a cryptozoologist, and Ivan Sanderson thought it was probably a hoax, and he wrote it to send it to Peter Byrne, who was in Oregon. He's also an investigator. He's mostly in Nepal, but he'd come out here to investigate the Patterson site too, and set up a research center in Oregon. Well, Peter thought the same thing. I didn't know any of this was going on until later on when I read the letters of communication between them all. And so when he
Wow.
contacted Al, he said, "This is probably nothing, but you might want to go down and talk to these guys just to see what it's all about." So Al Berry came down and interviewed us, and we invited him in 1972 when the snow melted. He could go in, and we went in, and he experienced it the year before. And he just was still trying to find out who could be pulling that off. That's what investigation is all about.
Right.
And I found out he was actually going through our backpacks while we were out walking around.
Oh.
We're trying to see if there was some
Sacrilege.
kind of something. And we were later on, at the suggestion of a scientist, we took a wildlife biologist up there to do a flora fauna study on the area to see if there's any signs of, it could have been hidden wires or hidden or nails in the trees or something like that for speakers and things like that. And he did that, and he couldn't find any signs of anything. Of course, we knew that because we weren't doing that.
Right.
But still, you have to have those reports in there for people to listen to you and take you seriously. So these sounds have been out there now for over 50 years, and no one's been able to debunk them. You got people like Joe Rogan says he can duplicate it. Well, no, he
Sure.
can't. No,
Sure.
he can't.
No
Okay,
comment.
do it, Joe Rogan.
I
Do
have
it.
challenged him publicly, just like I'm doing now, to just try it. Because you got these voices stepping on each other, and they're
Yeah.
Tell
outside
him
the
to bring
human
you on the
range.
show and do it.
What's
But
that?
he won't. He won't.
No, he won't, because he can't.
No,
No.
no,
No.
he can't.
First of all, you'd have to be two of you, because
Yeah.
these things are arguing between themselves up there sometimes. And at the
Right.
No,
time they
they're
were arguing, we
fascinating.
didn't
I
know.
shared them.
We didn't know if they were arguing over who's going to come in and eat us first, or if they want looking for the salt and pepper. We just didn't know, and didn't know what we're dealing with then. But we did underestimate them, thinking they were just a flesh and blood animal that hadn't been discovered.
Right.
But I got to tell you, now that I got into quantum physics, nothing is just flesh and blood. We are not just flesh and blood. We have a consciousness. We have abilities that we have not grown into yet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more going on with us than what we don't know how special we are. We're very special beings on this planet.
Right. Right.
Well, we're kind of being held underfoot too. Like I always feel like something is stopping us from using all of our brain matter, all of our, our consciousness.
Abilities.
There's something holding us back. Because
Probably
I
us.
talk to dead people. So, and I always say, if you open yourself up, right, and you prepare yourself, you can do it too. Like it's not something.
Exactly.
Some people might be stronger, like some people are dentists, and the rest of us, we still know how to brush our teeth. So it's the same kind of thing with intuition. Everybody has it. They just don't realize how good they can be at it and they're not working on it.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
And also, I get in my quantum book into the pineal gland has a third eye, and how that's a receptor, I believe, for if you
Absolutely.
learn how
For
to meditate and take
Right.
all the things that are good out there. Just because it's a different religion or something doesn't mean it's from the devil or something like that. You know, too
No,
many people
exactly.
are out there worried about
Honestly.
I've been
demons
Yeah.
called
and
many
devil.
names. I've been
And that,
called many names, but it's okay.
Right.
I think it's so fascinating. See, everyone listening, the biggest man in this field right now, Ron Moorhead, is telling you he meditates and he opens up his pineal gland. That is huge
yeah.
because a
Right.
lot of people don't talk about that in the cryptids. They just talk about sightings, history, facts. But I love that you do that. Do you think that it makes it easier for you and it's kind of like pulls you in to want to know more and try to communicate with them?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It will tell you things. That's how you get
Yeah.
information, is that way. When you pray, you're asking for something. When you meditate, you're trying to receive something. A big
Right.
element I try to get into is your pineal gland needs to communicate with your heart. Your heart
Mhm.
has a brain. Your heart and your brain and your mind up here, your brain has to be in coherence with it, has to be balanced. You do that through your meditation, through your chakras, and
Mhm.
balance those tones and things. And once you get that going, you become healthier. Everything works out better for you. Don't be a victim no matter what. Just never be a victim. Whatever happens to you is okay. And
Mhm.
no matter how you think about it, there's a reason it happened. Where life is just about experiences, and how you respond to the experiences is more than the experience itself. We all have to learn to respond to the experiences with love
Agreed.
and compassion, and not with anger, not become a victim because somebody done something to you. Uh,
You're an old soul, Mr. Moorhead.
That's right.
You're an old soul. That's
That's
how an
right.
old soul sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
well, I
true.
am
You
old, you know.
No, you're not old. I mean you're an old soul. You understand that it's all part of something.
Yes, well, I believe in multiple embodiments now. I didn't used to. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised religiously, and nope, you got one life and that's it. Well,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think you have to balance your karma somehow. You have to make yourself better. You do
Mhm.
that, and but if you learn how to work with love and compassion throughout your life, you will raise your personal vibrational frequency, and that's
Mhm.
how once you leave here, you'll leave to another dimension, a better one, or not. And I think maybe you got to respond. You got to learn some way, somehow. You got to learn. You got to learn the lessons that we're here to learn. Humans are very special. We get to go through these experiences, and we should appreciate them all because they're meant for something good
Mhm.
if you respond to them properly. We're off the subject of Bigfoot, though.
No,
Yes.
I think they're actually pretty connected. I think that with Bigfoot, just from what you're saying, they could be these interdimensional beings that are maybe they're here in a way to teach us things, but people fear. I think we as people, earthlings, we're taught to fear everything from the time, like whether it's the fear of God that gets put into you, having to follow so many rules, like the government life. Maybe if people didn't fear,
Oh, you're hitting right on a button there. That's perfect.
yeah,
Fear is your only enemy.
Hmm.
right,
People say, well, were you afraid up there? Well, we got where we weren't afraid because we realized they weren't going to eat us and they weren't
right,
carrying us away or nothing. So
hmm,
we got kind of friendly with them, or kind of comfortable, I should say, and looking forward to them coming in at night if they did.
right,
And we just, I think your fear is what will hurt you anywhere. So if you can
hmm,
learn to control your fear, well, who was it? Theodore Roosevelt or somebody? The only thing to fear is fear
fear
itself.
itself. Nothing
Uh,
to fear but fear itself. Yes,
and yeah, you find what you look for. I think Abraham Lincoln said that.
that's
It's a
true.
negative
If you're looking for
reaction.
something that's going to stab you, something probably will stab you.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's manifestation.
So. Yeah. Oh, now you're into something even better.
Right? We're
How we
Yeah.
manifest
manifesting our
everything we got
reality.
going on. We created our life,
That's
and
another show.
that's